My name is Ashley Seay. Welcome to Woodcuts. I'm the gallery receptionist here. I've been working at Woodcuts for about a year now, and I love it. But even before I was working here, I was a customer, and I'm still a customer. Um, this place has been open for 34 years now, and we're really, really proud of that. We are a full service frame shop. We do canvas stretching, we do diplomas, we do city and state work with resolutions and proclamations. We cut glass by hand. We have our own warehouse where we cut and we join our own frames. So we are a full service custom framing store right here on Jefferson Street. And we've been here for quite some time. And on the 25th of September, we will be celebrating our 34th anniversary. So this photograph here, or this collage, shows the history of woodcuts. The reason we got this name is because the owner, Mr. Nathaniel Harris, is a woodworking artist. He started out doing wood sculptures, and he framed a lot of work for his wife, who did, I believe, needlepoint or some kind of stitch work. Either way, he wanted to collaborate with the business up the street, which is a Kibulan bookstore. Mr. Harris wanted to work with Mr. Youssef, but he ended up just starting his own business and bought this business, which was right down the street. This place used to be a burger restaurant during the 60s and the 70s, and there was a race riot that happened, and this place was set on fire. And after all that happened, Mr. Harris purchased the building, renovated it, and turned it into what is now Woodcuts. So these pictures here show the process and renovation of Mr. Harris turning this restaurant now into the framing business that we see today. So here we have Mr. Harris when he first opened, and he's putting up the signs and he's putting up the letters and all of that on the door. A lot of people didn't think that this business would survive. They would say, like, oh, you're too expensive, or oh, you're not going to really last. But this business is kind of a testament to how he was very determined and he was very creative, and he put all of his woodworking and engineering expertise together to establish this business and, make it to what it is that you see today. So now in 2021, we are 34 years old. We're very proud of our history. We are in the heart of North Nashville in the Jefferson Street area. So much has happened on this street, a lot of history, a lot of musicians. A lot of those prints throughout the years we have collected. So Mr. Harris has a very large collection of art, about 34 years worth of art that we have here. We keep things new and fresh by rotating the art exhibits, and we post on social media. And yeah, we're just trying our best to keep in touch with the community here. So next Saturday, we will commemorate the 34 years that we've been in business. And we're going to be working with the local pastry business, Sweet Creations, who's just right up the street, who's going to be providing light refreshments for our event, which is going to be from noon to 3 p.m. on the 25th. And we're so excited. And yeah, if you have some time, please come by and celebrate with us. We'll be having artist talks from Mr. James Thrillkill, Amari Booker, myself, and Mr. Michael McBride. We also have an artist that's going to be unveiling a new piece. I won't say who it is, but it's a surprise. So yeah, come by and see what we have. We'd be happy to have you. This is an example of our gallery exhibits. Here we have a wall featured with the artist James Thrillkill. He is a local artist, and he also was a professor at TSU. So he's taught a lot of people how to paint. And we love his work. He always brings us beautiful pieces. And right now he's doing a lot of pieces that are centered around music, which is perfect for Music City. So this is the jazz collection, and each piece features very vibrant musicians such as Miles Davis. He had a piece here of Marvin Gaye, which sold, which, who wouldn't buy that piece? His style is very vibrant. He uses a lot of thick, like impasto techniques and knife painting techniques to really like layer on thick layers of acrylic paint, and it really makes his pieces pop and really, really speaks to you. A lot of people, when they come in, this is the first wall that they see and they love it. So I'm glad to be a part of curating this wall. And that's just some of the things that I do here. I love hanging up the artwork and making the signs for them, and really just like helping the artists have another space to showcase their artwork. We work a lot with local artists, myself included. But yeah, we have just about every art form that you can imagine here at Woodcuts. Here we have our small originals area. We have a lot of work here by local artists, including Twin. Well, they're in Memphis, but we have Mr. Gregory Ridley. We have Amari Booker. And each one of these is a different medium, but also each piece is framed in a different framing style. So these pieces are just different examples of different ways that we frame art. So here we have a double frame on a canvas. There's no glass here because paintings don't need glass. So this is a linen liner. And then we have a brass tone frame here. And here we have a mini shadow box. And we have some textile design here with some illustration details. And we have an example here of a double mat that we have cut. This is a sketch by Mr. Gregory Ridley. Also, we have some paintings that were done by Mr. Ridley that were a part of his study. And here we have an example of a painting that is floating on a mat with a frame around it. So each piece that comes into our gallery, we have to kind of know art knowledge to kind of know what the piece needs, how it needs to be framed, and also how it needs to be preserved. So we take all of that into account, plus the customer's interior design, the color, the room that it's going to be in, does it have a lot of sunlight? All of that is important because when you come in, due to us being a completely custom frame shop, we need to know those details in order to preserve it and get the customer the materials that they need. So yeah, these are some more examples. This is a repoussé by Mr. Jamal Sheets, who is over the gallery at Fisk. And we love this piece. This is a triple mat, actually, around his repoussé with a frame. And over here, we have this piece called The Cleansing. And this is a really beautiful piece because it shows a woman who is being baptized. And if you look closely in the water, you see like her older self being cleansed and just kind of washing away and showing the new vision of herself and starting her new life. This is a really special piece because it has a double suede mat. This is real suede because we have different mats and textures and colors, and also metallic mats to kind of fit everyone's need for the decor. And here we have what's called fillets. These are hand applied with glue, and the mats are cut with the mat cutter. We cut the glass by hand, and we cut and join the frame by hand. Everything that we do is hand applied due to us being a full service custom frame shop. And since we're a gallery, we combine the arts with the functionality of framing to be a one-stop shop. So you can pick up a print like this and frame it and pick it up in a week or two and it'll look like this. So yeah, we love this piece. We have the gallery lights shining on it, and it really just brings the beauty out of the piece when you have gallery lighting. So yeah, it's one of my favorite pieces in the gallery. And over here, we have the wall that's dedicated to Mr. Gregory Ridley, or Greg for short. He is very famous for his repoussés. Repoussés are basically a metal plaque, and you turn it backwards. You draw on it backwards, and you imprint on the metal from behind. And once you turn it around, the relief is what you see here. So the whole process is like backwards. So you just have to keep in mind the whole time of what the final image is going to be. So his work is one of a kind, and people here know who he is. They love his work, and we are honored to be one of the galleries in the country that has his work. We have the largest collection of Greg Ridley repoussés in the country, and most likely the world. So if you would love to see his work, we have a very special exhibit dedicated to him. And yeah, we custom framed each one of these pieces. And unfortunately, Mr. Ridley's no longer with us, but him and Mr. Harris were very close friends, and he gave a lot of his work to Mr. Harris. So a lot of these pieces were individual metal repoussés that we gathered together in special pieces or collections. We came together, thought of some unique framing styles to display them, and this is what you see now. So yes, we have waves of femininity here. We have the pharaoh here, and we have an abstract piece here, and then we have a cityscape here. And this is one of my favorites here with a woman with flowing hair. She's dancing, and I love the frame around her here. So this is our way of commemorating his career and the beauty of his work. Here's the front counter for our customer orders, and we have special framing software called Lifesaver, where we input the customer's information and generate a work order for our customers. That work order goes to the next department, which is the mat cutting department. So right now we're at the front desk in the gallery, and we have received an order from the state. So today we are going to be framing a piece from Governor Bill Lee. And what they usually do is send us a folder with the information in the inside. Either it'll have a resolution, proclamation, what have you. And sometimes we'll use the seal and just cut it out and put it in the mats to kind of showcase the seal. So they have requested a black and gold frame for their piece. So this is the sample. Each sample on our wall, which we have about over 100 samples on our wall, and we have 9 walls of frames. Each sample has a number on it. We have about 5 different molding vendors that we go through, and different codes that we enter in for each molding company. So when we find a frame that the customer likes, we input that information into the system, and we ask them questions like, okay, where is this going? Is it going in your office? Is it going in your living room? What is the color scheme of your decor? All of that good stuff. And then once we get that narrowed down, we pick the colors of your mats. So they would like a black mat with a white mat that lines around the picture frame. So once we get the mat cut and we have the frame sample, we join the frame, and then we put it into the frame. And then we proceed with the glass, and then we finish it up in the mat cutting and the fitting department. So that is just an example of how we figure out what the customer needs. Since we are a full-service custom frame shop, we have to ask different questions to see what the customer needs. So up front here, we have 3 different glass on display in a simple frame. We have conservation clear, which is good for photographs and newspapers. Then we have museum glass, which when you look through it is pretty much non-existent. That's typically the glass that you see in museums, to where you can fully see the artwork and there's nothing interfering like glare or anything like that. And then we have reflection control, which is good for if you have a sunroom or a room that's really sunny and you want to just kind of tone down the glare, but you still want to showcase your artwork. You can do that. It's just that we have to know that, and then we put the appropriate glass, mats, and other materials to, accommodate our customers' needs. So once we get all of that together, we formulate a work order. So on the work order, we have the opening size, which is the size of the actual artwork. We have the chop size, which is the size of the actual frame that we are going to join for the customer. And then we have the glass, we have the mats that I typed in. All of this on this form is all the information that we need to frame the piece. So my job is to, 1, have art knowledge of what we're framing, 2, make sure that it is preserved and framed correctly and handled correctly, and 3, I have to make certain that I appropriately charge the customer for what we're doing. So a lot goes on in the front end of the framing process. So now that we have the frame, we have the mats, now it is time to go to the mat cutting department to show some examples of how we get this beautiful mat job around the artwork.
Once the order comes back to us, we'll measure it. It always gets measured again once it's back here with us. Victoria will take those measurements, put them in the computer, which is a Wizard. This is the Wizard computer. It's the latest model 9000. We can cut any shape, any size. We can make it 2, 3, 4 layers of mat. It doesn't matter. We can go up to 8 mats at one time. And not only does it cut the opening for the mat, it cuts the outside measurements. And the picture will fit in here. Of course, this will be the size of the frame. We would cut the frame the size of that. Once we get the mat in there, see, we can make a collage.
And once the mat has been cut, we take the art piece and we put it together with foam core to give it support. And once that is done, the next part is fitting it and putting glass on top to put the whole process together.
Come over here, Diane.
So now we are going to show you how we cut our glass.
So I'm going to score it along this line, but I need to score it about 1/8 of an inch in from the edge of the frame, so that way there is some play between the glass, edges of the glass and the frame, because you don't want to cut it the exact same size as the frame, because then it could break. So I'm just going to line it up right there and push down with some mild pressure. And that sound indicates that it's scoring well. And that just comes right off. And now I'm going to do the same for the other side. I'm just going to score it right on the inside edge. Oop. I think the hardest part about scoring is that if it doesn't score well, you really can't rescore it. So first time is really your only chance to do it. Now we have our cut glass, and it's just a little bit of give there, it's a little bit of wiggle, and that's a good thing. We don't want it to be tight in there. We want it to be kind of able to wiggle just a little bit. And that's it.
Okay, next thing is to clean the glass. You gotta make sure you get the corners. Make sure all the corners are clean. It's dry. And to ensure that, just flip it over, do it again. Making sure all the corners are nice and clean. Okay. Brush it out real well. Make sure there's no dust, trash, anything left in there. So we are noted for making sure we have nice, clean pictures. Just dust off the pictures, just making sure there's nothing there. Then, put it in, turn it over, make sure there's nothing in it. You can see by the lights in the ceiling that nothing is in it. The next thing you want to do is to staple it in. Just holding it so your frame won't fall apart. Okay. Turn it back over. Give it another look through. Make sure there's nothing on it. You can take care of all those problems at one book. Okay. The next thing we're about to do is put the tape, put a backing on it. Ready, Danya?
All right, so now I'm gonna put some double stick tape, we call it transfer tape, and line the edges with this so that we can put a piece of paper on the back, make it look nice and clean. Okay, go grab a piece of paper. I found this scrap piece that I'm going to use. I like to do 2 sides at a time. Save myself time. Okay, and then take my knife and trim off the excess. Okay, and now we have our backing, and the next thing is to put hangers and a wire. So I'm going to measure from the bottom about 2/3 of the way up. So I just measure it here to make sure this is the top. Yep, we have the top here, so measure the whole thing. We have 14 inches roughly, so approximately 2/3 is going to be about 9. So I'm just going to measure to 9 and 9 there. So I marked it. I'm going to take my screws, my hooks, and I want to make sure that the screw isn't going to go through the front of the frame. So I really quickly just kind of line it up to make sure it's not going to punch through the frame either. So I take my drill, and it's roughly where it's going to be. And I don't need to drill a pile of holes or anything because this is soft wood, so the screw should just go straight in. Just like that. And then other side. Take some wire. This one. And tie our wire around it. And there we go. And then I wrap the excess wire around itself. And then once that's done, the last step is to put our label and stickers on it and some corner bumpers so that it sits evenly on the wall. So 2 bumpers. And then woodcut sticker. Like so. And then also attach a hanger to put in the wall. And now it's done. It's ready to hang in the wall. And that's it. So now we're going to join a frame, and now we have 4 what's called legs. So we have 2 short legs and 2 long legs. And the first thing I usually do is stain the edges. And we have a silver frame, so I've got my silver paint marker here. So I'm just gonna stain the edges, and then I wipe off any excess with my thumb. That way it doesn't show a stripe at all. And I'm gonna skip some of them just for time's sake. Okay, so the second thing we do is pick the size V-nail that we need. So we have 3 sizes of V-nails. These are 15s, which are the tallest, which to determine if it's the right size, I just hold it up. And generally, I don't pick a size that's more than halfway through the depth of the wood. So if it's more than halfway, chances are you're gonna split your frame. So these look good. This is a tall enough frame for a 15. Otherwise, we have 10s and we have 5s, which are the shortest ones. But for this frame, we can use the 15s. So I'm just gonna load it into the underpinner. And there's a lot of different kinds of underpinners, but this one is a Cassis. I don't know the model number, but it doesn't matter. They all work a little bit differently, but they do the same thing. So I'm just gonna line up on this side. Well, I'll do it on this side so you can see. Just gonna kind of line up where I'm gonna shoot my V-nails in. So right there looks good. And I can adjust where it shoots from just by here. And I have a little measurement here so I can see exactly where I wanna put the V-nail. So this is the furthest back I want to go. So I'm just going to fasten it right there. And then I'm going to put 2 in. 2 should be enough. So I'm going to put 1 in right in this spot and 1 at about the halfway mark right there. Okay, so now we turn on our air. And the air is what pushes the V-nail up into the wood. The glue is really what holds it together. The V-nails are just there to kind of keep it together while the glue dries. So I recommend going very crazy on the glue. So I tend to use a lot of glue because then you have a better, more solid join. So I'm just going to smush them together like that. And I tend to do the long sides on the left and the short sides on the right, but it really doesn't matter as long as you have 2 L's that are the same size on both sides. So now I'm just going to, with my foot, push down on the pedal to shoot the V-nail and move it back to the other position and shoot another one. And now you have your L. And I'm just checking the bottom to make sure that it's even and it looks good. So I'm going to do my second one. It might seem kind of counterintuitive, like you know, a lot of people might think you would go 1, you know, and then join the 3rd here and the 4th there, but really you want to do 2 L's because it's not going to be easy to get that 4th leg in if you do 1, 2, 3, 4. So we always do 2 L's. And now we have our 2 L's, and you can see here that there's a V-nail right here and a V-nail right there. And that's a solid join, so I can't really like get it apart. And sometimes the frame is so skinny you can really only get one V-nail in there. As long as you use enough glue, you should have a really solid join. But if you ever lift it up and the top is coming apart, you probably need to add more glue. So now I'm going to take a little bit of a wet paper towel, this is water, and I'm just going to wipe the glue from the top so that it's nice and clean. And now, get that off there. Now this is an easy frame because it's just a flat profile, but if you ever have, ornate looking frames with lots of curves and things, it's going to be a little harder to clean. So usually you put a little less glue towards the top so it doesn't squish out and get all over the top of your frame. So now we're going to take our two L's and we're going to put glue on one and on the other. And position them like so. And I always check the front and the back corner to make sure that it's coming together in an even way, so that way you don't have, one corner sticking out this way and one shifted off to the other way. So one nail, two nails, and we switch it, rotate it to the other corner, and you really want to push inwards with both your arms so that you have a good smushed join. And there we have our frame. Ta-da!
All right, and over here we have some more examples of local artist work. This is some of my pieces. I'm a printmaker, or what is commonly known as a woodblock printer. So these pieces, just to kind of give a brief explanation, I basically take a block of wood and I carve it. The whole idea is to carve a stamp, like a smiley face stamp that you get at like a craft store. You draw the picture, you carve it out, you roll the ink on it, and then you print it on paper. This piece was featured with Metro Arts, so it's one of my favorites. It's called The Black Woman's Guide, and it's a honor to women, femininity, and just feminine nature in general. So this piece is just about honoring this mother's period. So this is one of my favorite pieces. But yes, so we love exhibiting local artists. We would love to have people come down and, talk to the owner, Mr. Harris, to see if you would be interested in showcasing your work here. We do a 60-40 split, which I love. 60% goes toward the artist and 40% goes toward the gallery. And we do that to put more money in the pocket of the artist, because we really believe in supporting the artist and just working with them and establishing that relationship. And we really appreciate you all taking the time to visit Woodcuts and hear what we do. We're all artists here, and we love talking to people about art. And I really believe that you have to really love art to work in a place like this, because if you don't have the knowledge of art, and if you don't love art, then you won't stick around long. And people can tell by the quality of your customer service whether or not you really enjoy what you do. And here we really do. So we would love to have you come down and celebrate our anniversary, which is September 25th, from noon to 3 o'clock. Once again, we have artists Mr. James Thrillkill, Michael McBride, Amari Booker, and myself, just talking about how Woodcuts has affected our career, how Woodcuts has helped us, and also what we do as far as our art medium. And also, if we have an art piece to unveil, we will be bringing that piece to the anniversary event to showcase and just share our work and our expertise with the community. So yeah, we would love to see you there. And we would love to talk to other artists who are interested in showing their work here. And even if you just want to come by and see the gallery and just talk to us and see what we do, we would love to have you. So yeah, thank you for stopping by Woodcuts, and we hope to see you soon.